My name is Aisha Suleiman, and I'm joining this call from Nigeria. It's currently 2 p.m. my time, and I'm very excited to be moderating this session today. We'll start in 3 minutes or less, and I just want to kindly request that for those of us that are on this call, let's take out 60 seconds to share the link to our friends, colleagues, so we can start with everyone at the same time. Though the call is being recorded, but it would be great if everyone joins before time so we can carry everyone along. So can we do that in 60 seconds or less? Then we can start the call properly. Thank you very much. I'll also be doing that from my end, so I'll also indulge you to do that from your end. Thank you. So hello everyone, welcome again. And before we proceed properly, I'd like to share some ground rules, which I believe everyone is already following. Everyone's mic is muted, and I believe all communication will be done with respect. And please, let's also introduce ourselves in the chat so we can get to connect with ourselves and know where each and every one of us is joining from. So my name is Aisha Suleiman. I'm from Nigeria, and I'm joining currently from Nigeria. So I'll be in the chat to read introduction from 1 or 2 persons, and then we can proceed. Please just tell us your name and where you're joining from. Okay, I'm not getting any response from anyone yet. Okay, hello, I'm Ni Ando from Madagascar. Thank you for joining us today. Who else is going to introduce themselves? I almost thought I wasn't audible because I wasn't getting any response. Please don't be shy. Okay, we have 2 people. Me from 3. Okay, we have me, Ando from Madagascar. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. We have Mary from Sierra Leone and Georgette from Nigeria. Thank you for introducing yourself. I think we can now proceed to the next slide. So for every occasion or every event, there's always an agenda, of course, and this one is not an exception. We're going to start with an introduction of the organization MAGGREEN. I will talk about the Africa Energy Series, which is our flagship series. We have an interactive session, which we do weekly on Mentimeter. just to help us understand how well we know Africa and, close the entire knowledge gap. We introduce our speaker that we have for today. We have question and answer session, feedback, and closing remark. We also intend to wrap this up quickly because it's weekend, and I must appreciate everyone for taking our time, our speaker especially, for taking our time during the weekend to spend it with us and, talking to us about what is happening in the entire energy landscape of Madagascar. So MAGGREEN is an organization that is focused on empowering Africans with the knowledge required to transition into clean energy and combat climate change. It was founded by three young ladies who were trying to contribute their own quota in the fight against climate change. Our vision is to build a community of network of like-minded people, which we have been able to achieve and will continue to achieve in the next years to come. We have been doing that for the past 3 years now. The Africa Energy Series is our flagship series, and this was born out of, curiosity, and we just wanted to close the knowledge gap. We want each and every young African out there to know what is going on in other countries. I mean, it is not enough to know what is going on in your own country. It would be nice and great if you know what is happening in other countries in terms of energy transition, climate action. What are the net zero targets that they have set? What are some of the lessons? What are some of the policies and actions that have worked for them? What are some of the projects? We just want to learn everything about different African countries so we can see what we can adopt in our own countries and, lessons we can learn from other countries so we don't have mistakes repeating themselves twice. Our aim is simple, yet very impactful, which is to educate and forge partnership. And so far, this is like an outdated data. We have covered 35 or 36 African countries, and we're still on the move. So it's time for us to meet the team. I'm going to start with my humble self. I am the communication and partnership coordinator for MAGGREEN. Just next to me is Georgia Celestine Odor, who is our design and technical coordinator. We also have Mary Dora Kamara, who is our program coordinator. I am from Nigeria, Georgette is from Nigeria, and Mary is from Sierra Leone. Okay, so I'm just going to pause my presentation for now and invite Georgette, our technical coordinator, to come and briefly take us through the Mentimeter. This is one of my favorite parts of the entire session, apart from the knowledge that we get to receive from our speakers. This is one of my favorite sessions because I get to learn a lot about different African countries. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and yeah, Georgette, over to you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you so much. And thank you all for joining. I have just put a link in the chat. Please click on it and let us head to our Mentimeter to get to know how best we know Africa. So you can either click on the link or you can, okay, I can see some people already here. Are you sure? The question is, what is the capital of Madagascar? And we have 4 different options, and I can see everyone is clicking on one. Would it be majority carries the vote today? We are yet to find out. Okay, so the correct answer is the majority have it today. It's Antananarivo. I hope I pronounced that right. And our next question, Madagascar is the world largest island. Is it the second? Is it the fourth? Is it the fifth? Is it the seventh? Is this a guess or the correct answer? So for me, one of the things I liked about Madagascar was growing up, I watched the movie called Madagascar and it was really interesting. So the name Madagascar is just very unique to me. So let's see if you're correct. I think today we are on a good run this season. So yes, majority have it. Madagascar is the world's fifth largest island. So what is the native language of Madagascar? Is it Malagasy? Is it Swahili? Is it Zulu? Is it Arabic? Okay, I think a lot of us really know about Madagascar today, and I'm really excited about this. So yes, Malagasy is the native language in Madagascar. And now, which of the following is a significant environmental issue in Madagascar? Is it deforestation? Is it desertification? Is it industrial pollution or water scarcity? Okay, so this is really nice. Yes, Madagascar is going through a lot of deforestation currently, and that's one of the reasons we are hosting this webinar to learn more about what is going on, what are the steps they are doing to tackle this issue, and we would learn more from this. Thank you so much for those who participated, and I will hand it over to Aisha now to continue.
Okay, thank you very much, Georgette, for sharing that with us. I would have never imagined that the capital of Madagascar is Antananarivo. Sorry if I'm not getting it right, but this is my first time hearing the capital of Madagascar. And I think the only question I would have guessed correctly is the one for the environmental challenge, because the only thing I knew about Madagascar, watching that same cartoon many years ago, was I know they cannot be facing water scarcity. That's just the only thing I know, because I know that they're like an island country. So, and it's almost impossible for an island country to be facing water scarcity as an environmental issue. So yeah, thank you very much for that. Um, okay, so before we proceed, I would like to share with everyone on this call that the Africa Energy Series is still continuing its journey. And Madagascar is our 37th or 38th country, if I'm not mistaken. Africa has 55 countries, and we have covered 36 so far. So currently we are on the lookout for speakers from the following countries: Burundi, Mauritius, Mozambique. So if you know anyone who works, any young person particularly, we're looking out for young people who works in the climate space or has idea about the climate condition of their country, the energy landscape. We are inviting them to our platform to come and share what is going on in their country with us. So we'd really appreciate if people present here can, reach out to speakers that are from this country that they know, or encourage them to reach out to us, and we can see how to take it up from there. So I'll leave 2 seconds. Maybe anyone wants to take a screenshot of this slide, and at the count of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I am moving to the next slide. Okay, so now I'm going to introduce our speaker for today, and so I don't mispronounce the first name, I'm just going to skip and call her Ni Ando. She is a political scientist and currently completing her master's degree in public affairs. She serves as a project assistant at the International Organization for Migration, Madagascar, where her work focuses on the participation of the diaspora, particularly youths, in the local development of their country of origin. In addition to this, she has contributed to Maritime Security Project, which is the focus of her ongoing master thesis. She is deeply passionate about research. She enjoys exploring multidisciplinary topics to broaden her understanding of complex global issues. Representing Madagascar at this webinar series, she draws on her political scientist expertise to offer insight into the country's potential regarding energy transition within the African continent. Thank you very much, Neen and Ando, for joining us today. And we're always happy each time we have a female speaker, maybe because MAGGREEN is female-led. So I'm going to take the slide away and stop sharing my screen so we can hear from our speaker. Once again, thank you, Nii and Ando, for joining us. And we're ready for your presentation right now.
Hello everyone, thank you, Aisha. Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can I share my screen?
Yes, you can. You can share your screen.
To begin, I would like to thank MAGGREEN for this opportunity to speak today, to democratize the knowledge amongst African countries about each country's specific case regarding climate change and energy transition. I would like to thank everyone too who is attending this webinar. Thank you for your interest and support.
Right.
As we gather to discuss the pressing topic of energy transition in Africa, I want to take a moment to highlight the unique position of Madagascar. Picture this, the largest island in the Indian Ocean, blessed with a treasure trove of natural resources. As you can see on the screen, our objective today is clear: to know and explore how Madagascar can actively contribute to the energy transition in Africa by leveraging its renewable energy potential. We will be addressing the following thesis. Madagascar is not just a passive participant in this transition, but has enough potential and resources to be an important stakeholder in sustainable energy practices. To guide our discussion, we can break this area down into the following fields. First, I will give an overview of Madagascar, its resources, and potential in terms of energy transition. Next, I'd like to raise briefly the current state of the energy sector in Madagascar. Then, I'll go on to briefly highlight the public actions and initiatives ongoing or planned through existing instruments. After that, I'd like to address the existing challenges while addressing opportunities for the future. So, if you're ready, let's get to the point. Madagascar, not the film, is located in the southeastern region of the African continent and is the 21st largest country in Africa and biggest island in the Indian Ocean. It spans over 587,295 square kilometers. The population of Madagascar, the Malagasy people, is estimated at 29 millions in 2022 and now around 30 millions. Madagascar country stands as an example of promise, but also of challenge. The island enjoys, as you can see in the pictures, abundant sunshine, boasts numerous rivers and waterfalls. This favorable climate positions Madagascar advantageously for energy generation. Nevertheless, the country is still grappling with energy access issues, with millions of households still without reliable electricity. Accordingly, our question remains: how can we effectively harness existing resources to contribute to Africa's energy transition? That leads us to the next part. What does Madagascar exactly have? As mentioned earlier, Madagascar has several significant wealth of renewable energy resources that can drive its energy transition. First and foremost, let's talk about solar energy. As a tropical island, Madagascar holds enormous potential for solar energy with 2,800 hours of sunshine annually, approximately 7 to 8 hours a day. It's almost comparable to some West African countries. Given the sunlight exposure, the country, according to the World Bank, has an estimated production potential of 2,000 kilowatt hours per square meters per year. However, mountainous areas, protected zones, urban areas, and inaccessibility to certain areas can be limitative factors, so we can't install photovoltaic everywhere in the island. As instance of the Madagascar solar potentiality, though, if we assume that only 10% of Madagascar's total area would be available to photovoltaic projects, we could potentially generate around 117.5 terawatt-hours of electricity. To put that in perspective, for us to imagine what can this quantity of energy could achieve, that's enough to power over 19 million households, far exceeding our current population, which is only 30 million actually. Next, we turn to hydropower. The topography, hydrography, rainfall of Madagascar are favorable to the development of hydropower installations, particularly the east part of the island, characterized by rainfall, numerous rivers, where the climate is humid and is more water than other regions. That is ideal conditions for a hydroelectric project. The World Bank has ruled that Madagascar has significant but underexploited hydropower potential and estimated at over 7,800 megawatt hours. Let's continue with biomass, another vital existing resource in Madagascar. Grasslands and shrubby areas account for more than a half of Madagascar's surface area. Furthermore, forests represent 15% of the island's total area. Therefore, Madagascar owns a significant potential in terms of biomass energy generation. Madagascar's energy profile, produced by the IRNA in July 2024, shows that the biomass potential of Madagascar, as we can see, is 10.5 tons of carbon per hectare per year, while the overall average is between 3 and 4. Let's not forget about the wind energy. Studies have shown that Madagascar has significant wind potential thanks to its weather conditions and geography. And according to the National Institute of Sciences, the wind energy potential is estimated about 8,000 megawatts for Madagascar. There is already ongoing projects like in Tuliara in the south part of the island, which is planned to produce around 50 megawatts and is already underway, which shows us the viability of wind energy in the country. And finally, geothermal potential, which represents another untapped resource. Due to its geological position within the Pacific Fire Belt, Madagascar has promising geothermal potential, mostly in the north and the south part of the island, which is estimated around 3,000 megawatts. Now, let's see the current state of Madagascar's energy sector. Let's take a look first at the total energy supply in Madagascar. Total energy supply, or TES, represents all the energy required to supply the users in the country. What keeps our attention here is that biofuels and waste represent 86% of total energy supply. That situation reveals that Madagascar has a heavy dependence on traditional biofuels as charcoal, wood, agricultural waste. In 2020, less than 5% of the population had access to clean cooking facilities, and approximately 76% of Madagascar's energy consumption derives from biomass, primarily for cooking by using charcoal and firewood. While widely used, it unfortunately contributes to deforestation, as we saw in the previous game, and environmental degradation, highlighting the need for more sustainable alternatives. Next, the access to electricity in Madagascar remains a big issue. As of 2022, only 36.1% of the population had access to electricity, ranking us 184th out of 190 countries in electricity access, according to the World Bank in the Doing Business report. This chart provides a breakdown of the country's electricity generation in 2022, showing us the split between non-renewable and renewable energy. As you can see in the chart, 54% of the electricity came from non-renewable sources, indicated, as mentioned earlier, heavy dependence on fossil fuels as imported diesel and heavy fuel oil. 46% is represented by the hydroelectric power. 42% is represented by the hydroelectric power. Many electricity facilities, unfortunately, are outdated and unable to meet the growing demand. 4% is contributed by the solar power. Photovoltaic installations have been growing significantly in recent years but are still underexploited. And the chart does not indicate, as you can see, any significant generation from wind, bioenergy, geothermal, and these untapped resources can represent missed opportunities for Madagascar. So, what are the actions ongoing by the government? The government of Madagascar has set a target of reaching 70% electricity access rate by 2030. At the opening of the General Assembly of Africa 50 directors 2 days ago, the President of the Republic of Madagascar deplored the unsustainable nature of the energy situation in Madagascar. He mentioned that sustainable and renewable solutions exist to address these problems, but they require significant funding. A new energy policy for 2015 to 2030, this in the left, promotes renewable energy use, and energy sector measures are also prominently mentioned in the Madagascar's NDC, or nationally determined contribution. Recent initiatives tend to improve the situation and include the promotion of renewable energies, participatory long-term policy development by engaging various stakeholders in defining a long-term energy policy, and the adoption of energy-efficient cooking solutions. As Peter Drucker once said, plans are only good intentions unless they immediately degenerate into hard work. This highlights that critical need for action-oriented execution in driving sustainable results, because finally the outcomes ultimately hinge on the implementation of tangible on-the-ground measures. What are the main challenges of energy transition in Madagascar? Even though Madagascar has non-significant greenhouse gases emissions, climate change is adding another layer of complexity to energy sector in Madagascar. Madagascar is one of the first countries experiencing the direct consequences of climate change, including extreme weather events that threaten energy resources. Climate change impacts these last years include drought periods, There is water scarcity in Madagascar now, increased variability of the rainfall, intensification of cyclones, intensification of extreme phenomena, and increase in the average temperature. Madagascar is not spared, and the observed climatic trends demonstrate the reality of climate change in Madagascar. For hydroelectricity mainly, much of the existing infrastructures in Madagascar and facilities are obsolete and could no longer meet growing demand. Some production facilities are saturated and very vulnerable to weather despite the country's wealth of existing resources. There is also the household's financial barriers. Uh, Access to solar products, for example, requires important investment for households, and this is not easy for them to purchase power of 80% of the population doesn't have the financial capacity to buy solar kit. Fortunately, there are banks and microfinance institutions that offer loans, but only for those who take the risk. And our last challenge, but which is the biggest also, is the population evolution. Population change is a key factor that will influence the need for power and energy in Madagascar. According to the World Population Prospects, the number of people in Madagascar now is 30 millions, but in 2050 it will go to 55 millions with median projection. This will constitute a major problem in the future given the availability of supply and the growing need. So, these challenges shows us that our progress is hindered by significant challenges that we must address to move forward effectively. Despite these challenges, fortunately, opportunities for growth and improvement exist. We must explore then additional actions to harness our potential at its fullest. So, what are the opportunities for a better future in the energy transition of Madagascar? To maximize our potential, we must take proactive steps. First of all, deepening the understanding of climate variability. That's very essential because this will enable us to develop more robust energy systems and reinforce their adaptability that can withstand the weather events. We can better anticipate and mitigate the impacts of climate change on the energy resources. Second, promoting international cooperation among African nations, and that can lead to an acceleration of the progress. Sharing best practices, innovations can catalyze progress across the continent. We can have collaborative projects, knowledge exchanges, and joint initiatives that can enhance our collective capacity for energy transition. By working together, we are pretty sure that African nations can leverage their collective strength to address the common challenges. Enhancing coordination among stakeholders involved in renewable initiatives. Collaboration can lead to more effective project implementation and resource sharing by fostering partnerships among and between governments, private sector, civil society. We can create a more cohesive approach to energy transition, and community engagement is the most important because it has been proved that when communities are invested in the outcomes, they are more likely to support and maintain the initiatives. Fourth is investing in training for renewable energy professionals. This ensures the adoption of new technologies and practices by developing local expertise. We can empower our workforce and reduce reliance on the foreign technologies. And finally, the resource diversification. Developing a diverse energy mix enhances resilience and reduces the vulnerability. By investing in various renewable energy sources, countries like Madagascar can mitigate the risks associated with reliance on a single energy type. In conclusion, Madagascar stands at a crossroads with the potential to not only meet its energy needs, but also contributes significantly to Africa's energy transition. By harnessing our resources and fostering collaborative efforts, we can surely pave the way for a sustainable energy future that benefits all for Madagascar and Africa as a whole. Thank you for your attention. I hope that my presentation has been able to contribute something to each of you and has allowed you to know more about Madagascar and its potential to participate in Africa's energy transition. Thank you very much.
I have been speaking since without unmuting my mic. Thank you so much, Ni Ando, for that very insightful presentation. I'm sure not just me, but everyone on this call has picked up a few things about the energy landscape and climate action in Madagascar. So please, participants, if you have any question or comment for Ni, you can put it in the chat. But as for me, I think I'm just going to go ahead and ask one question. We're currently in 2024, and I saw in your presentation you mentioned something about achieving 70% energy access by 2030. So based on your own observation, how far gone are you guys, like, as a country? How far gone are you? Are you at 50% or 40%, or you have exceeded 70%? What do you have to say about that?
Okay, so can I directly answer? Do you
What
hear
did you
me?
say?
Can I directly answer to your question?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so the thing is like, I think 5 years ago, Madagascar was still at 50% of electricity rate access for the population. Now we are around 30%, but by 2030, I think it will mostly depend on the immediate actions of the government, because 70% is very far if we consider the state of the roads in Madagascar, the inaccessibility of most of the areas in Madagascar, and also all we know that Madagascar is very big, but it's not easy to put installations, whatever it's solar or hydroelectric, in many areas of Madagascar. So I think it will mostly depend on the adaptation measures of the government when they do their projects of electrification. I don't know if that answers to your question.
Yes, it does. And it's very nice to see that even at 25 years, you said you guys are already at 50% energy access. I believe most African countries do not even have energy access of that amount yet. We still have a long way to go as a continent. I can see one question in the chat that Georgette is asking about. Are there any hydrogen projects in Madagascar? Hello, Ni, can you hear me?
Yes, just a
Okay,
second.
so are there hydrogen projects? Is Madagascar considering hydrogen, or maybe in terms of research, pilot
Uh,
projects?
the thing is that projects on hydrogen doesn't really exist in Madagascar. Research are being done, but we don't have yet hydrogen projects or initiatives, nor from the government, nor from public sector, for private sector, nor from the associations. We don't have that yet.
Oh, okay, then that's good, because most African countries are either at the research stage or pilot project. Apart from Namibia, Morocco, I don't know of any country yet that has gone into a really large scale hydrogen project. So if you have any other question, please drop it.
Just a remark, an observation. At this point in Madagascar, we mainly focus on hydroelectricity, and the solar is getting bigger and bigger, but still not very that big. But we don't have hydrogen, we don't really have biomass yet, we don't have geothermal energy yet. There are research that are being done in universities and centers, but no concrete projects for at this time.
Okay, that's great to hear. But with your solar potentials and hydroelectric potential that you have, it is also possible to produce hydrogen because it's not something different. You just need um, renewable energy electricity to be able to produce that. So yeah, thank you very much for joining. I don't know if you have any other question. I'll wait for 5 seconds. If we have more questions or comments from our participants, and in the absence of no question, okay,
Uh,
yeah, okay, so there's no further question. So right now, I would say thank you everyone for joining. Thank you specifically to our speaker. Okay, you can go ahead. You can go
uh,
ahead.
okay, sorry, I just have one question, which is not mainly related to the content of my presentation, but can we publish the video of this presentation? I'm asking to MAGGREEN.
Okay, we can do that. We'll upload it on our YouTube because we're currently recording. And when the link is available, we can share it with you if you would that be
Okay,
okay?
thank you very much. That will be okay.
All right. So thank you everyone for joining again. And please follow us on all our social media platforms to stay connected with all the works that we're doing and subsequent webinars. And please feel free to recommend speakers to us from the different countries that we have mentioned. I'm just going to project that again in case anyone forgot to take a screenshot. We have made a post on our social media and we'll still make another post regarding this. We're looking out for young speakers from these countries to come and speak on our platform. Okay, let's see. Okay. So without any further ado, thank you everyone again. I feel like I've said thank you 1,000 times. And we've come to the end of this session. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you very much, MAGGREEN, and have a good weekend too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you and bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.